It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin, Nielson, and Tom Gazolla, presented by Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Oil Stream. It's Nielson and Gazolla. It's brought to you by Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. And you can obviously hit us up in the comments section. We've got that, like I said, brought to you by Popeyes. Tommy, these cups are now available at all of your Popeyes locations with the Oilers meal, so you can pick those up. I've already seen some people tweeting at us.
Yes, they message us saying, hey, we got them. Those are nice. They're great cups. They'll last a long time. Your kids can throw them around the house. They won't break anything, and they won't break themselves. So what a deal, baby.
Yeah, this is excellent. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
All right, we are live on Twitter right now. All of this content will be able to be found on tsn1260.ca. We're live on the TSN Facebook page right now for the first time at TSN 1260. Trying some things on YouTube and Twitch as well, Tommy, because you might as well. And that's why I put on my game day hoodie and blazer, buddy. What do you think?
I don't like the look in general, but it looks, you know what? I like what you're doing. It's a little bit of an effort, and that's appreciated, and you look sharp, my friend. By the way, look at us go. Look at us on all these different platforms now. Can't thank our listeners and our viewers enough. Can I show what I'm wearing too?
Yeah, a lame t-shirt. Okay, Tommy.
Oh, a lame. It is not. It is the Hockey Helps the Homeless Canada Life Cup champ. That campaign is kicked off, runs until March 31st. Of course, there's no game, Dusty, which sucks because of COVID, obviously. But if people want to donate, text hockey to 20222, or you can visit clc21.ca to help the cause there. So representing, and we'll be following up on our social media as well. But I thought I'd give it a little love today on the Oil Stream.
That's a very nice thing to do, Tommy, and obviously a great cause. And I believe I have a shirt that fits as well, which would look really good under a suit jacket. So I'll see what I can do. I also like the t-shirt suit jacket look. Yeah, well, hey, Orlovsky's pretty good. I think he's a talented guy. All right, so if you're watching on the Facebook page right now, TSN 1260, leave a comment. I've got that on my phone. I've got the Twitter feed for your comments on my my iPad. And we're here to talk Oilers. We've got a lot to get to. Once again, if you're watching, subscribe to the podcast as well on all your podcasting platforms so you do not miss an episode. Tommy, it's game day. We'll get to some of the changes for the Oilers here in a second, but 28 goals between these two clubs in 3 games. I have a hard time believing that we're going to get anything different tonight.
Yeah, I don't feel like defensive systems and schemes are going to work all that well tonight. I'm sure both coaches want to see that, but not when you have this much firepower at both ends. And you know, surprisingly enough, they get to Connor Hellebuck 5 times the other night, and then Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen get lit up for 6. That tends to happen from time to time. So maybe some more of the same. 28 goals in 3 games is I mean, bring it on, man. It's funny on the post-game show the other night, Dusty, especially this morning on your show, you're asking what the reaction was. People were angry. They're like, 6 goals. Oh my God, the goaltending's terrible. Oh, and then on the pregame, they're loving Mike Smith. And on the postgame, they just forget everything they said. They blow up on Smith, and it's like, what are you guys surprised? Like, what's the big deal? Like, you guys know he lets in goals. You know Koskinen lets in a lot of goals. It was an entertaining game, and they're, shut up. You shut up, Tom. Yes, I was entertained, but they let in too many goals. I'm angry. And that's why we love what we do.
It's an excellent job. And I was driving home from the rink, listening to your post game, and I saw, and I could tell you guys were getting the text messages on Mike Smith. And it was, yeah. And I mean, I'm not pro Mike Smith. I started the Koskinen revolution, Val and Camus. But I've always liked Mike Smith as a battler. I think Mike Smith has the ability to get stoking red hot at this stage of his career still and go on a little bit of a run. Saw something of, what was it, late January, early February last year. But all of that aside, I mean, he let in 1 bad goal.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, outside of that, the defensive play in front of him was downright atrocious. I was blown away that people were pinning that loss on Smith.
So many bad turnovers, sloppy play in front of their own net. Missed assignments. You think of the Ehlers goal. You give a guy like that 15 feet of runway, Dusty, he's going to bury. We saw Nuge do it at the other end of the rink in the third period. You're right. Like, okay, the Appleton goal, unanimously, we all agree that was the bad one. But the other ones, you're just like, that was a grade A scoring chance. And, oh, look at that. It was a really good player that scored those. So mercy pull for Smith the other night. And looks like Dave Tippett says, hey, Smitty, we need you. Give us another effort like you gave us against Montreal last week. 38 save performance for the shutout. So I don't think it's going to happen. But if Smith can only let in 3 and the Oilers can get their 5 on Hellebuck, then they're okay.
At all surprised that it's Smith tonight? Because I was leaning Smith, and Rashog and Gager and Noodles all kind of started to convince me that Koskinen would be the play because they got the back-to-backs coming up this weekend. Yeah. They're going to probably split those. So they were starting to convince me. From the initial moments after the last game, I thought, Tippett's going back to Smith. You're not surprised at all?
No, I'm not. At practice yesterday, you saw Smith in the starters net, and this is something that's become more regular, especially since Dave Tippett's come in and taken over as coach. The guy who's going to start the next game usually is in that one net, the one that the Oilers defend twice. And that's where Smith was. And that knowing and reading what Dave Tippett tends to do, I was like, it's going to be Smith. He's going to go back to him. He wants to let him have the chance for redemption. I'm cool with it. These guys are going to split these games against Calgary over the weekend for sure. And it's not like Koskinen's going to be a real step up anyway. Like, we had people being like, Koskinen, did you look at his GAA and save percentage over 38 games last year? I'm like, yeah, but he can't do it over 60. Remember 2 weekends ago in Calgary, it was not pretty. And that's still Mikko Koskinen. So, I like to tease and joke around with the fans of the team, but I'm not surprised it's Mike Smith. And I know, Noodles and Gager and Rashog like to stir the pot a little bit, but they were wrong. All 3 of them.
I didn't want to tell you today, but when you were on the Nielsen show, smash hit, if you haven't checked it out. When you were on there this morning, the text messages, there's a couple of them that said, Mike Smith could only have one leg and Gazolla would think he should play over Koskinen. Like, it's out there, Tommy, that you are anti-Koskinen.
Yeah, let's just say that if you give me a Valon Camus 920 t-shirt, I'm just donating it.
Why donate it when you could sell it for thousands of dollars online?
Well, there you go. There's my summer holiday. That's a great idea.
Get you taken care of for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, pick your poison. And I love that people are picking up on that. Yes, I think Mike Smith is the better goalie of the two. Not by much. Trust me, not by much. But I'll admit, yes, I think he is the guy you want to go to in a winning or a win-all scenario.
We'll get to some game day predictions coming up a little bit later on. It is the Oil Stream, brought to you by Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen, available here on Twitter at Nielsen TSN 1260. We are streaming live on the TSN 1260 Facebook page today as well. And subscribe to the podcast so you do not miss an episode. D Cards, who actually tweeted us that he's got these, said his kids aren't touching these Popeyes cups, which makes me think they're way more valuable than you would have thought originally. So I like that. I like that commitment. Pick them up at Popeyes. Went on sale on February 15th. All right, Tommy. So Ennis today was asked about members of the media about playing with Jujhar Khaira and Josh Archibald. And I do think it's been a pretty effective line so far. And I think Ennis is a big part of that. So I know there was the benching of Cahoon last game, and Ennis got up there and had some opportunities. And I'm not opposed to that idea eventually. But with that being said, I'm not too sure how the Khaira, Archibald, Cahoon line would look. So for now, I'm pretty good with sticking with Cahoon where he is, Ennis where he is. I like what that got going with that top 9 right now. What do you think the leash is like on a possible flip-flop between those two?
Oh, good question. Here's the thing. Is like, do you want to disrupt the good thing that third line's got going? And Dave Tippett generally doesn't. But yesterday at practice, one guy's wearing a bottom 6 jersey and the other guy's wearing a top 6 jersey. And that was Ennis in top 6, Cahoon in bottom 6. I don't know. Maybe he's reluctant not to flip it. I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't have an issue with Cahoon's game overall. The giveaway was egregious, like so close to getting it out. Get it out. You know how good Winnipeg is offensively. get into the neutral zone, make your play there. Don't button hook at the blue line. It costs them. So I understand the frustration. I also think that Cahoon and Draisaitl really do have a good connection. And with Yamamoto in there, they're feisty. You'd want Cahoon to have more points than he does. I get that he's been snake bit a little bit, but at least he got off the schneid. And he's not Tobias Reeder 2.0. I know people made that comparison earlier in the season. Maybe we see Dave Tippett, if things aren't going that well, maybe he flips those two tonight just to try it out. He'll move and slide guys up and down in the midst of a game. He's not afraid of doing that, or doesn't stray away from doing that at all. So I get keeping that third line together with Ennis. He's a big part of that. And then I wonder too, if you get away from that, does it disrupt what Jujhar Khaira was doing on that line with Archibald if you throw Cahoon on there? So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't really have a ton of indicators to say what it's going to look like tonight.
I don't really like asking this next question because I think he's been okay in that spot. But Tommy, here on the Oil Stream live stream and on the Oil Stream podcast, we need to ask the hard question. So I'll do it. I'll do it right now. Are you sitting down?
I am.
Okay.
I am. Okay.
Because if you were standing, you'd be really short right now. If Cahoon didn't grow up with Leon Draisaitl, would he have been taken off that line already?
I think the answer is yes. I really do. And if you didn't see the connection between them, they make those little plays in the offensive zone. They read off of each other really well. The short answer is yes. I don't think he would have anywhere near as much leash as he does have. And I mean, when you're riding shotgun with your buddy that you grew up playing hockey with, who has a ton of sway and persuasion, it's a big boon and benefit to you. So yeah, the answer to that is absolutely. He would have been taken off that line. There would be no question that in this scenario, we'd be talking about Ennis being on that line, riding the hot hand, all of that. But yes, wholeheartedly.
Tell me a little bit about Mike Smith's new mask, Tommy. Where can people see that bad boy?
Oh, you can just go to my Twitter. Big shout out to David Parker, TSN cameraman extraordinaire here in Edmonton. And Mike Smith unveiling the new bucket. He had the Mike Vernon throwback mask a couple of years ago in Calgary. And he's got an Andy Moog throwback mask now. And it looks really neat. And it looks like the old Cooper helmet. I thought it was like a Mark Messier Winwell. And I forgot that Moog had worn one of those Cooper helmets. I think Bill Ranford did too when he got to the Oilers from Boston in that trade. It looks sharp. It's Mike Smith has great gear and cool helmets, so he's wearing that. And oh yeah, by the way, Rashog today, when I went to Parker to ask him if he could shoot it so I could get a better photo of it than I would usually get with my camera. Remember, I got ripped for the Mike Smith.
Yeah, you have a really bad camera phone. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's an iPhone 11, but anyway, so I'm like, Parker, do you mind? Are you busy? He goes, yeah, no, I'll get a good shot for you. So he did. He did great work as he always does. And then I just hear Rashog yell over, hey, get 6 feet with it, Dave. Come on. What are you doing? And I was like, shut up, man. You're such a dork. We're masked up and I'm going to stand 6 feet away. Don't worry. But Rashog just had to be a dork there. I just want to call out Rashog for being a dork in that instance. I know he was messing with me. That was a dork move, Rashog. You dork.
Look, part of me wants to say, no, he isn't a dork. Like, a big part of me wants to stand up for him right now. And the main reason being is that we just teamed up together in a game of Axis and Allies. I'm Japan. He's Germany. But that does, in fact, make both him and I dorks. So I have to agree with you, buddy. Huge dork. Huge dork.
Yeah, and I can call him a dork because you may notice over my right shoulder is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like huge artwork that I got from a local artist named Chris LeBrenz. Look him up; he does some great work. I too am a dork, so I can call out fellow dorks like you and Ryan.
Did you go to him and say, "I need you to do this piece for me," or did you buy it from him?
No, didn't have to commission it. He already had that bad boy. It's like an interpretation of what they would be like in real life, not like the 80s, early 90s movies. And he does some great stuff. I also, like, further down my wall, have a Ghostbusters one. It's pretty sweet. I have Super Mario, too. I, too, am a dork. I played NHL 21 yesterday till midnight. I got my ass kicked in every game. I played NHL 3's one-on-one challenge. I suck at that game.
Yeah, we're all dorks. That's been confirmed. All right, speaking of the dork, Ryan Rashog tweeted this out. Just before we came on here with the Oil Stream, trade deadline a few months away. I'm told at this point there's no resumption in talks between the Oilers and RNH's camp. Talks broke off abruptly before the season, and it's been radio silent since then. RNH has made it clear he wants to remain an Oiler long-term, is an important player in their room. Replacing him on the open market would not be an easy or cheap task. With that said, the economic uncertainty moving forward has many teams carefully considering every dollar they spend, so it is complicated. My goodness. He goes on and on. This is not an asset the organization would want to lose for nothing in free agency. Letting him walk out the door could be a big setback, especially considering the relationship and chemistry with McDavid. Tough decisions ahead for both sides with the clock ticking. Let me get one thing straight here, Tommy. If the Oilers are in a playoff position, they're not trading the Nuge before the deadline. There's no chance.
I don't think so. I'm sure they're going to reconnect and get their talks going again. If there's willingness on both sides to get it done, you find a way, unless they're so distant when it comes to money. But I think we have a general understanding of what Nugent Hopkins is worth. You know, he might ask for 7.5. The Oilers probably don't want to give him too much of a bump up from the 6.25 he's getting. Find the middle ground, 6.75, whatever. I'm sure they could bridge that gap, especially if both sides are willing. At this point, I'm not too worried about it. And then friend of the show, avid listener and viewer of this podcast, and Hockey Hall of Famer Jim Matheson came up to me today. He goes, they can't get a deal done. You trade him for one of those goalies in Columbus. And I was like, Matty, that's an awful price to pay for a Mersh Linkins or a Korpisalo. Like, I don't think you're giving up Nugent Hopkins, who's like on your top line, excellent on the power play. I know his 5-on-5 scoring hasn't been there this season. Probably would have been a 75-point guy last season, if maybe closer to 80, depending on if they played out the rest of the year and how well he was going. I'm like, Matty, not a chance. You find something else if you want to get one of those guys to trade, not Nugent Hopkins. Come on now.
The team's doing relatively well. Like, they're doing okay. They're going to be in the mix for a playoff spot.
Yep.
Nuge not lighting the world up 5-on-5 or putting up a 65-point season in a 56-game season. It could be the best thing in the world for the Oilers. Like, they could say, you know what? You had a pretty good year, but we played you with Connor the whole year. You didn't light it up 5-on-5. Here's your, what's the number, Tommy? Is it $7 million? Here's $7 million.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the Oilers will try to, especially with this flat cap or the frozen cap, maybe they try to say, I'll give you 6.5, 6.75, and, they settle somewhere in between. I'm okay with $7 million. You got money coming off the books next year. I don't think Chason's coming back. Who knows with Mike Smith? Chris Russell's money is going to be way less next year. Maybe one of the buyouts comes off the books. I can't remember. I have to look it up. Maybe Lucic's deal, something like that. So, and who knows with Oscar Klefbom too, if he's even going to be back. So yeah, I think you can give him a little bump up, Nugent Hopkins, and make a long-term commitment to him and say, here, we'll reward you a little bit, but not too much.
It's not a great list of free agents anyway, personally, in my opinion. I mean, some people think Nuge might be the most coveted guy out there. So it'd be very, very difficult to replace. I would think, and Rashog said in the tweet, I think we all know it, that he would like to stick around. Yeah. They got to get a deal done or else you're completely starting over on the left side again. Really. I mean, Holloway looks like he could be a player, could be down the middle, could play on the left side. But once again, you can't go to Connor and say, hey, here's a 19-year-old for you. I don't think you can do that at this stage. So got to find a way.
Yeah, exactly. Like Holloway in a few years, maybe an option. Right now, let him finish his college season. And then when he becomes a pro, let him figure out what it's like to be a pro. Don't just thrust him in there. And let's not go down the Tyratty rabbit hole again and all that. It was bad. We know how bad it was. Didn't Tony Slepp get on there for a bit? Tony Slepp and Anton Slepyshev,
did McDavid not say yesterday he's had a lot of different line combinations since he's been? I think he was asked about playing with Nugent yesterday, and he was like, yeah, I pretty much had every single line combination you can possibly have here. So he probably likes having, first of all, the best winger on the team on one side and Nuge on the other. He's probably pretty happy with that, Tommy. So
I can't argue. Puljujarvi's looked great, especially the last couple of weeks. So yes, good point, Dusty.
All All right, what happens tonight? I said this morning, so I can't change now. I've kind of committed to this one. McDavid gets .500, and it's a goal. I think he scores 500 in style tonight. He doesn't really usually score garbage goals. They're always usually pretty. So I do think McDavid, I think we all think McDavid gets a 500. I'd be stunned if he didn't tonight.
He gets it, yeah.
What's your prediction for the game? What are you expecting?
I expect more fireworks. I think we're going to see like a 5-4 game. I know teams are going to buckle. They're going to try to buckle down on the defensive side of things, but it's not going to happen. Smith's going to let in a couple. Hellebuck's going to let in a couple. 5-4 Oilers win, and they're, back in the mix. They're still in the mix, but it's going to be another barn burner for sure. Is that a bad term? Someone came after me for saying that once. No.
What's that, barn burner?
Barn burner, no. That's
if it is, I'm completely naive and obvious to the reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
someone will call us out for it. It's going to be an offensive explosion, let's call it.
Oh, that sounds nice. I really like that.
There we go.
As somebody who's already got a little sprinkle on the over 6.5, I'm pretty excited for this game tonight, Tommy. I think it's going to be a good one. Your pregame show on TSN 1260 tonight. What time is that get going?
6 o'clock. Hey, let's just say that this show tonight, we've got a special guest, and it's going to J-Rock. It's going to be a great show.
What? That's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. If you could get Bubbles' number for me, that'd be great, Tommy.
I'll see what I can do.
All right. So that's going to do it for another edition of the Oil Stream. Pick up your Popeyes Oilers cups at all your Popeyes locations as well. And if you've been watching on the live stream, thank you very much. Subscribe to the podcast so you do not miss an episode. We'll be back on Friday to set up a double dip in the Battle of Alberta, which is going to be very exciting. If you're super angry after the game tonight, make sure you're listening to Tommy on the TSN 1260 post-game show. Gazolla, have fun with that, buddy. Hey, and start dressing a little bit better next episode, okay?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, okay, I will. I'll see you on Friday.
For Tom Gazolla, I'm Dustin Nielson. We'll talk to you on Friday.